Hello guys, this is Joffrey with Guth Lawn Care. Hey, hopefully you had a good Christmas and a good holiday. Hope you've had time to enjoy some time with your family and your loved ones. But anyway, I'm coming today do a little video here about how I got started in the lawn service. And that was thanks to Precision Lawn Service. He had asked a question in a video where I asked a little while back about some topics. And if anybody has any topics they'd like me to discuss, please let me know. And I'd love to share about it. But anyway, how I got started. Well, um, always loved mowing. Grew up on a farm, as many of you know, and I always got to drive the John Deere riding mower. I thought that was a lot of fun, and I did that as a kid, helping out my parents. But also worked at the church a little bit with my brothers, doing some mowing there, and just kind of doing the mowing. But my first job where I got started was probably back as a little old lady named Dorothy, and she'd actually be my great uncle, his sister. So it's my grandma's sister's husband's sister. Okay, that's confusing. My grandmother, her sister, that'd be my great aunt, and then her husband, my great uncle, his sister though. So she's not related to me. She's on his side of the family. But anyway, she had asked if I'd be interested in doing it. I guess it was, or maybe they were. She was looking for somebody. Maybe somebody said I would be. I don't know how it happened, but I had to have only been like 14 or 15 years old because my dad would take me and drop me off there, and he'd go do something, while I was there mowing. And I think I was there an hour and a half, 2 hours. She had one of them little old lawn boy mowers um, that had the front wheels, that were kind of, one was offset a little bit. I think you know what I'm talking about if you know lawn boy. And that mower, you had to mix the gas and the oil, and it would vroom, vroom, vroom. It would make a surging noise all the time, and it was just, things have come a long way since then. But heavy built, it held up, unlike some of these cheap push mowers nowadays. But yeah, it was a workout for sure. I think it took me, like I said, about 2 hours, an hour and a half to mow that yard, and she'd always want me to stop halfway through the yard and come in and get a snack, get something to eat. And I didn't really want to do it. I got to the point where I wanted to just be done mowing, but she'd come out with a glass of water for me. And nice, sweet old lady. Um, Probably, one of my favorite customers of all time. Her name was Dorothy, and she'd come out there. She'd have a glass of water. Now you stop and you take a break for a little bit. You need to come in and just rest a little bit. And uh, oh my, you've just worked so hard, and you've just done such a wonderful job. And she just appreciated what you were doing more than getting that grass cut. It was just spending time and talking to her, and that meant a lot to her. And here's just a little side note. It goes the same way now, especially the elderly generation. The older generation, they love people just talking with them and taking interest in them. And that's important, you guys. If you guys are mowing or any job you're doing, take time to talk to those customers. And especially, they have, they have so much knowledge about stuff. I think of my grandparents and the generations, that they've lived, the years that they've lived. They've seen so much in their time. My grandpa used to farm with a horse when he was a kid, and he can still remember that. He was about the age of my kids when they got a tractor. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. But enjoy that time, with them people. But anyway, I'd go inside. She'd have a glass of water for me, and then she'd give me like a can of 7 Up or Sprite or something, and then always a glass of chocolate milk and a donut. And man, it probably took me so long to mow that yard because when I got done drinking that and eating that stuff, I felt like I was going to throw up. And I'd go back out there and I'd mow some more, until I got it done. And that was my first job. And I think if I remember right, I did that yard took me, like I said, an hour and a half, 2 hours or something. But I think I made $30. She might have paid me 35. She paid really well. Um, you know, it might have been 35, but to do all that. But then I remember 2 doors over, her neighbor asked me if I could do her mowing. And it was like, yeah, sure, and I did it for Margie, and she had a little bit nicer, you'd go do that push one job, and then you come over there and she had this riding mower, and it was a 30-inch John Deere. I think those were called a Trico deck or something like that. It had a rear mount engine, and that thing would putt along at 2 mile an hour, and I'm just sitting there and enjoying the breeze and running that little mower, and it probably took me an hour and a half, 2 hours in my yard too, and I think on that one though. Actually, you know what? The first one maybe wasn't as long because I made like $35. And I think the next one, I really think she paid me like, well, no, I take that back. She paid me like $30 or something, I think, but I was just sitting on the mower. I wasn't doing anything. Well, then come along the neighbor behind the first lady, and she wanted me to do her yard, and I did hers too. She had an old Ford uh, riding mower. It was maybe it wasn't a Ford, maybe by New Holland. Yeah, it was a New Holland Ford mower, and I'd ride on that, and that yard was even bigger, I think, and it took me a couple hours, and I think she might have paid me $40, and just from there on, and then eventually I did the neighbor in between the first and the second one I talked about, and I used his push mower. Well, then I was like, man, I really like this, I like doing this. This is fun. And I started doing some yards in my own town, and it was people from church, and I was using their push mower. I remember one had a real nice for its time. It was a Toro push mower, self-propelled. It had like 4 or 5 speeds, and it was a mulching deck, and I'd use that thing, and that yard took probably 45 minutes, and I remember they paid me about $27, and little old lady there too, and there was a man too, and I'd talk with them and chat with them, and little Marie, she'd say, now I gave you a couple extra dollars, I'll give you a couple extra $2 tip today. Why don't you go get yourself some ice cream? And I just remember those times, and it was just a lot of fun. And I'd talk about these people, and none of them are alive anymore. Most of them been dead probably for 10 years now already, and that was just a lot of fun. I had no cares in the world. I was riding on their mowers or pushing their mowers, using their gas, and they were paying me good money. And shoot, I was in high school, probably started college for some. No, I think most of it was high school, because I was thinking, man, I'm making good money here. And then I think it come along. My brother was doing some condos, and actually, I still mow them to this day, and that's been since 2000 and probably 2 was when I first maybe call officially my business started. That would have been my senior year of high school, first year of college, and he was doing them, and then I bought my first push mower, and it was a Murray, I believe. No, take it back. Not a Murray. It was a Ranch King from Farm and Fleet. I think I paid $189 for it, and it was not self-propelled at all, complete push mower. All it had was a mulching deck or a grass catcher on it. And I would load that up in the back of the car. It was a Pontiac 6000 was the car. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. Just a Pontiac car, and the name of the car was Pontiac 6000. Put that in the back trunk, and I'd drive around. And you guys have all seen people like that driving with a car, a car in their trunk, a mower in their trunk, and that's how I'd roll. Okay, and I had the gas cans in there. I had a Ryobi weed eater, which was a piece of junk, and I had a broom. I used a broom, and then I had bought a Ryobi blower. Okay, and I used that for a while, and man, I was making some money. And then the next thing, it was like, I got to get a bigger mower. And I bought my first truck. I bought a black S10. It was a 1996 S10 Chevy Silverado, or Chevy S10. Excuse me. The next one's a Silverado. Chevy S10, a 96 Chevy S10. And I got me some ramps, and I pushed that mower up there. Well, the next thing, I wanted a little bit bigger mower. So I bought a self-propelled push mower. And, I used that. And that I bought from Farm and Fleet also. But it had some caster wheels in the front that would swivel. You could lock them in place, or they would just swivel around, and just like, a walk behind mower. But I thought that thing was pretty awesome. I think I paid like $400 for it, and it was a good mower. It had a nice Kawasaki engine on it, and I ran that thing for a long time. And then I was like, man, I really love doing this, and I'm just getting into this business. And I probably had, 4 or 5 yards, and it got to the point I was still mowing these customers with the ones I originally started, with their push mower and their riding mowers. And I was like, man, I could really be more productive. I see these commercial guys going around, and they got commercial walk behind mowers. And I was like, started doing some research. I'm like, those things look awesome, and they're getting done so fast. And next thing I knew, I bought a commercial walk behind mower. And it was a 36-inch commercial mower. It was called a Quick 36. It was made by Better Outdoor Products. I bought it online. They were out in Advance, North Carolina, and that was 2005 when I bought that. And I thought that thing was just so awesome. And lo and behold, I learned it was a piece of junk. Better Outdoor Products did not last at all. They went belly up within a couple years, but they were trying to cut out the middleman. It was basically factory direct. You bought it, they shipped it to you. Parts were all available online, and it was a good mower for about a year, and then it just started falling apart me. But I bought a little trailer. I had a 5x10 trailer, and I started talking to those customers, that I was using their push mower for. It's like, hey, can I use my own mower? I'll charge you the same amount. I can get done a lot quicker. And so here I was charging them same amount of money, but I was using my own mower now. So I was probably making less than what, I was using their stuff, but I was saving myself time. And I guess that's just how it started going, you guys. And then eventually you work your way up to better and better equipment. And that's how it started out. It just started out as a young boy, just wanting to do some work, and doing some work for people, and just snowballed from there, and now here it is, almost started 2019. And if I start in 2002, that's 17 years later. And now, I mow 40 accounts, I guess, 40, 45, somewhere around that range. And you've seen the equipment I have. It's pricey, it's expensive. I've spent a lot of money, I've invested into it, but it's all just been slow growth. And, for me, I think that's the best way of going about it. Just slow and steady wins the race. And that's my story, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. That's how I got started in this business. And like I said before, if you have any more topics you'd like me to discuss, let me know. I'd love to talk about them. So, hey, take care. Hope you enjoyed this video.